Good morning.
Morning.
The June 5th, 2018 meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order, and we are pleased to have with us this morning Mr. Russell Tassone from the Code Enforcement Department, leading us in our invocation. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledge to the flag.
Good morning. Thanks to the board for the permission to give the invocation this morning. We're reading out of Psalm 95 first. Come, let us shout joyfully to the Lord, shout triumphantly to the rock of our salvation. Let us enter his presence with thanksgiving. Let us shout triumphantly to him in song. Come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. Let's pray. Lord, we're thankful for all of you've created, and we're thankful for being the rock of our salvation. Lord, please bless this meeting and all here this morning as we conduct business for the direction and the service of this county and its citizens. Lord, let us glorify your name in all we do. We thank you for the cross and for your Son, Jesus Christ. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Tassone, for being here and leading us in our invocation this morning, and good morning again. And we are delighted that you all joined us this morning for this meeting, and we appreciate your participation in local government. Public comment: we respect our citizens' right to address the government in this meeting. However, as the chair, I intend to enforce our 3-minute rule in order for this meeting to run efficiently and effectively. Once you've reached your sentence, it will be taken back by me at the 3-minute limit. Your comments must be germane to the agenda. Please avoid campaigning or personal attacks against personnel or officials, which should be handled in another forum other than a business meeting of this body. Clerk, do we have anyone that signed up this morning?
No, ma'am.
We have no one who signed up, so we'll move forward. Next, we have the minutes. Board of Commissioners, hope you had an opportunity to look at the minutes, and you have the minutes of the commission meeting of May 15, 2018, and the work session and the executive session minutes of May 14, 2018. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions that need to be made?
No, ma'am.
Being none, the minutes stand approved as presented. Business item, we have one business item on the agenda. And as tab number 4, reappointment of Helene Combs, Jerry Hurd, and Colleen Baldwin to the Animal Control Advisory Board, effective immediately. Board of Commissioners, are there any questions about these reappointments?
Yes. Madam Chair.
Vice Chairman Robinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just real quickly, can we get some clarity, just for the public record, because there's always new residents that come into the county. What is the Animal Control Advisory Board? Madam Chair, I'll yield to whoever wants to answer that question. But sometimes we appoint people to boards, and it's always the usual cast of characters. But there's a lot of people who move into the county or who become awake or want to get engaged in civic activities, and they may not really understand. So can we just take a few seconds before you guys make your appointments to explain what the Animal Control Advisory Board is? I yield.
Yes, sir. Mr. Peacock's coming up, the previous director of the Animal Shelter.
Thank you, Director Peacock.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you all.
Vice Chair.
Yes.
The Animal Control Advisory Board is just that, an advisory committee of county citizens that look at ways that we can improve the interaction between the citizens of the county and our animal control, animal services department. So they look for ways that we can improve not only the services, but also our regulations regarding animals and the codes related to how animals are situated and cared for in the county. So they're an advisory board. They cannot make decisions or set policy. They bring advice to the board and let you make whatever decisions you need to make.
Yeah. So there is a formal there's still a recommending body, some kind of way encapsulated, whatever is offered up to the Board of Commissioners. It is, is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay, so, and who facilitated, said you were the prior director, who's the executive director then of this Animal Control Advisory Board? And that's my last question.
Pat Fulgham is the current chairman. Pat has been the chairman now for at least 10 years, 7
Okay.
years.
Okay.
And all of the members that have been brought before you today are on the board currently, so they're all reappointments. Our current animal control director also sits as an ex officio member of this body, so it's a combination of both citizens and county employees that review the information and make a recommendation back to the board.
I got it. So, and so these reappointments are for districts 1, 3, and 4?
That's correct.
And just for the record, District 2 had a reappointment last year of Maureen Linden.
Yes, sir.
And so, so there's no confusion why didn't my district do it? Our term was last year. I yield, Madam Chair.
Okay, any other comment? Commissioner Guider?
Yes, ma'am. Bill, this board played, advisory board played a huge part in the construction and the layout and the recommendations of what we needed in the new animal shelter. Is that not correct?
That's correct, absolutely.
And they also have a veterinarian that sits on the board.
Dr. Verna.
Vernon, Dr. Vernon, yes. So it's a very diverse board. They're not just animal lovers, but they also know the needs of animals, and then they interact as far as controlling animals that's loose in the community. But
Yes,
they
ma'am.
did play a huge part in the construction and the layout of the new animal shelters.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I just wanted to give them a kudos.
Kudos. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I yield back.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Mulcair?
Another variation on the topic, the Animal Control Advisory Board, one specific and then one kind of general. Specifically, this board also acts as a conduit. Not that the commission needs a conduit, but sometimes friends and neighbors are comfortable coming before other friends and neighbors and making comments, recommendations, complaints very rarely. And that provides the Animal Control Advisory Board some material to work with in terms of recommendations coming to the city. So they hold public meetings, they advertise public meetings, and the public is cordially invited, encouraged to attend these Animal Control Advisory Board meetings. My second remark is just more kind of in general terms, in terms of citizens' boards. And frankly, I'm disappointed in Douglas County citizens. We often advertise for participants, people to participate in some of the numerous boards that we have, and frankly, a lot of times the response is pretty weak. And whenever there's an opportunity to interact with government, to influence policy, influence change, improve things in the county, citizens have an obligation as well. And so I would encourage all citizens to contact their commissioner and see if there's a way that they can contribute to the overall Douglas County community by serving on a board. Because so often when we advertise, we get no response. So I close with that, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so, I'm sorry. I
No,
didn't see you,
no,
Commissioner
there's no comments.
Mitchell, you don't have?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you so
You're
much, Director Peacock. With that being said, Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve the reappointment of Helene Combs, Jerry Hurd, and Colleen Baldwin to the Animal Control Advisory Board?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Okay, we have a unanimous vote, 5-0. This vote is unanimous. Thank you. Next, we shall move to the consent agenda. All items are subject to final legal review. Tab number 5, authorization to accept a Federal Transit Administration grant, GA 27-023-01, for furnishing and equipment for the Transportation Center addition, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents subject to final legal review. Tab number 6, authorization to issue an invitation for bid for the construction of the addition to the Douglas County Multimodal Transportation Center. Tab number 7, authorization to approve a claim for a property tax refund for the Pavilion Church Incorporated as recommended by the Board of Assessors and Tax Commissioner, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 8, authorization to accept a check from the Law Library in the amount of $25,347 for the purchase of 4 55-inch Mondo pads and related equipment to be used in the Superior State, Juvenile, and Magistrate Courts. Tab number 9, authorization to accept an award from the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council in the amount of $227,438 and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 10, authorization to accept a grant in the amount of $54,636 for the Family Treatment Court and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 11, authorization to accept funds from Cobb Douglas Public Health for backup redundant communications in the amount of $2,604 and amend the fire department's budget. Tab number 12, authorization to upgrade the pumper truck for the fire department purchased in 2017 with additional safety-related equipment. Tab number 13, authorization to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Villa Rica for early warning signal for the railroad crossing at Mirror Lake Boulevard and Connors Road, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents subject to final legal review. Board of Commissioners, that concludes our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve this consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any particular item?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Robinson, Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have two, and being sensitive to my peers, I'm sure they'll cover some of the other ones and maybe these as well. Number 7, dealing with our tax credit. We talked about this during our work session yesterday, and I believe there was, the administration was supposed to get back to us about the precedents that have been set. Do we have the final findings? Can somebody give a official statement on that?
Attorney, would you chime in, please?
Mr. Vice Chair, I raised the issue of 48-5-380 yesterday, which imposes a 3-year administrative time limit to request a refund for an error or an overpayment from the time the taxes were paid on property taxes, 1 year from a license. We went back at the urging of this board and looked at the law as a whole. It turns out that 48-5-380 is an administrative process that the taxpayer need not pursue if it decides to file suit. That same statute allows for a suit within 5 years. We looked at it as a whole and tried to find some Attorney General's opinions, et cetera, and we can find no legal bar to this board using its discretion to, on clearly erroneous bills, this is where we have made an error, or there's been overpayment because of duplication of payment. We can find nothing that bars how far back you can go. We asked, at y'all's urging, the clerk to go back. She found other instances where y'all went back more than 3 years. So we're not talking about, just to make it clear for the public, you don't like your tax bill or you don't like the assessment. We're talking about errors where an error has occurred. So we think you can approve beyond the 3 years because there appears to be no bar legally anywhere else.
That's what I wanted to hear. I'm not going to answer anymore because I'm sure the other peers may say something, so I'll let it come back to that. I'm going to move on then to number 8. These are dealing with Armando pads. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted one more time for the record, it's more of an administrative, but I really believe in this, and it's more for the Technology Committee, an acknowledgement that proper support will be made available for these 4 or 5 courts on using a tool such as this, so that, again, across the way there, through security, it's a different atmosphere than us over here on the sort of general government. And I believe that there needs to be a level of proficiency and efficiency in using a tool like this. I just wanted to make that acknowledgement. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, I saw Commissioner Guider's hand after yours.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Gary, if you would come forward, please. Got that pretty suit on. Gary, yesterday in our meeting, I was asking, were we going to see a rendition? And you said, yeah, we sent it to you about 6 weeks ago. and we've got another copy of it today. Is this the entire addition to the building?
That's the current building and the addition. The addition is to the right, on the right
So
side.
this is the front door
Of the current
of the
building. yes,
current
ma'am.
building. Now, there was a drive-through there at one point.
Correct.
We're doing away with the
We're doing- we're
drive-through
doing away with
for
it,
the
yes.
payments and everything?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's from this point out?
Correct.
All right, and what is the bay for?
It's for pulling in vans and shuttles and vehicles to where you can get them out of the weather and train the drivers on how to check tire pressure, change wiper blades, just a general pre-trip inspection.
Okay, so it's actually going to go up the hill rather than down the hill. The addition is going to be going up the hill.
Well, it won't actually
It'll
go.
be leveled off, I know that.
Well, where the
It'll be to
hill
the
is to
right.
the top driveway, that's where it's going to stop.
Okay.
It actually won't go up the hill.
All right. And we're also going to have, there's going to be a small conference room in there, or meeting room, I guess,
It's going to be able to accommodate 40 individuals.
40
A
individuals.
conference room, lecture room, training room, yes, ma'am.
And we're also going to have drug testing. We're required here in Douglas County, anytime you're involved in an accident and you're driving a county vehicle to, whether it's your fault or not, you have to have a drug test.
Yes, ma'am, and we have to, by FTA regulations for our program, we have to have a comprehensive testing program.
And this is actually coming out of an old grant
Correct.
that we had.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'm through as far as
Okay.
that is concerned. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about. It's number 13, authorization to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Villa Rica. If anybody lives in the Mirror Lake district or area, they are familiar with the fact that if you turn down on Connors, is it Connors Road? And you're going toward Villa Rica, you get down there about half a mile, and there's a train sitting on, on the track. And then you have to turn around and come back and go the other way. So this is going to just facilitate getting to Villa Rica. And I know the city of Villa Rica is going to be happy about this, because we've been talking about this for a long time, and I thank any and everybody that had a hand in this. And some of our legislators were involved in it too. But it's going to be a big plus for that area. So I thank everybody. I yield back.
Okay. Commissioner Mitchell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gary, if you would, please. And my apologies, I missed the meeting. I didn't miss the meeting yesterday, but I missed maybe your presentation about this particular item here, number 5. So this bay that we're talking about, so how many vans or whatever will it hold, or is it just strictly for just one going in and do?
A single vehicle.
A single vehicle,
Yes.
okay, got it. And so that's the expansion of what this is?
That's part of the
Part of,
expansion.
what's the additional?
The overall expansion is 6,200 square feet.
Got you.
It contains administrative offices for the
Right.
multimodal staff and the county's Office of Risk and Safety. We have the suite for drug and alcohol testing.
Right.
We have the 40-person conference lecture hall, and a major portion of the addition is going to be a driving simulator.
Got it.
Where we can utilize that to help train the individual drivers who are involved in the multimodal program, along with any other county employees who might need some additional driving training. We really feel like this is going to be a significant addition to our driver training.
Got it, got it. Okay, good. Now, cost-wise, I know this is grant funded, but how much on the county side of this that we're paying? Is it an 80-20 match, or is it all grant funded, or the numbers in my
The
apologies?
anticipated cost of the construction of the addition is $1 million to $1.2 million. It is a federal grant, and it's an 80-20 match. So if it's $1 million project, the federal grant will pay $800,000, and the county's match will be $200,000. And this project is in the county's 2018 budget.
Got it. Okay, so it's already accounted for, which is good, which is good. Okay, all righty. Well, thank you. I just, my apologies, I missed it yesterday, but thanks again for repeating that for the general public and for my educational side of it. So thank you again, I appreciate it. The other one, item number 7. This refund, Ken, I guess we'll kind of, you'll help me with this here, this refund that we've agreed upon now that we understand the 3-year rule versus the error that occurred. Can you just once?
Sure. I'm pulling up my notes.
Okay, all right. So why are you doing that? Oh,
Well,
yeah, okay.
I have, and by the way, what I said earlier, Bob Coons, who represents the BOA, concurs with that. We were both under the impression that Georgia law provided a 3-year rule for property taxes from the time of payment.
Excuse me, Ken, can you put
Me?
yourself on the mic? Yeah, thank you.
We were under the impression that Georgia law provided a 3-year rule from the time of payment for property taxes to request a refund based on error. There is a statute that essentially says that, but the entire reading of the statute along with the case law indicates that when when the citizen invokes that administrative process, it simply stays the time for them to file suit, and the statute goes on further to give them 5 years to file suit. The statute is silent as to what could be encompassed in that suit. In other words, when you get to the 4th year and the 364th day and file suit,
Right.
how many taxes can you include?
Right.
It appears to be silent. Because these are matters involving, and we looked at the case law, Attorney General opinions, blah, 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 couldn't find anything. Because this involves a situation where the county has overly benefited
Right.
because of the error.
Right.
We don't think the gratuities clause applies because you're not giving away something and not getting anything for it. You really, the county got something it shouldn't have got.
Correct.
So we can see no legal bar and, to that, and since the remedy is not exclusive, that is a judicial administrative remedy. This board's powers under home rule seem to be able to allow it to correct the manifest injustice.
And I'm glad to hear that it is being corrected. Now, with that being stated, though, with what we're approving, does it matter that we don't have the amount of $1,667 for this 5-year time span, or just leave it the way it is based on what's being asked on the agenda item?
The way the agenda, the attachment to the agenda item for purpose of the record, I can read it in just to make sure it's clear if you'd
If
like
you
me
would,
to.
please.
And this comes to us, this board, from the Board of Assessors and Tax Commissioner who have concurred that this should be approved. Parcel 62-1-5-49, a refund is being requested by the Pavilion Church, Inc. for tax years 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, in the total amount of $2,538.76. This parcel was combined with parcel number 62-15-1 and 13, so the parcel in question should have been voided in 2013. The Board of Assessors recommends giving the tax refund, and the tax commissioner agrees. Looks like we duplicated billing due to an error.
Understood. Okay. So for the record, I'd like to add that as part of this approval. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. The other one is the item number 8, speaking on behalf of Vice Chair Robinson in reference to the monopads. And this is probably more of a question for you, Mark. How are we, what are we, and even from the technology perspective, that we are assuring that whatever equipment that we have, whatever maintenance required on the equipment, that we are assured that those, which from the user perspective, that they're able to perform the duties that we request, versus like upstairs, sometime our monopad kind of has its own mind or rationale as to why he or she does that. And I know it's not a he or she or it. So what are we going to make sure, how are we going to make sure, because when it gets to the judicial side of things, I don't want to see us caught off guard from that perspective when we're dealing with people's lives and what they're trying to present as their attorneys are trying to present. So how can we reassure, and I don't know if that needs to be taken up at the committee level, which we will, from the technology perspective between myself and Commissioner Ann Jones-Guider, but I'm looking for some reassurance that these pads, when it comes to the user side of it, that they are prepared to jump in when those users have those difficulties as we've had upstairs.
Yes, well, the pads come with 1 year of support.
Okay.
Additional years can be purchased. And then,
And I'm not speaking of maintenance.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So,
So they come with support, and then also Russ is available. So Russ had classes for the ones upstairs.
okay.
You know.
Are those classes going to be passed on to those of the user perspective, so that clerk or that person in the courtroom, will he or she be able to take that class to be prepared if this happens, do this?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct.
Okay, okay. Okay, all right, so outside of that, if we can assure us on that end, and I mean, between myself and Ann Jones-Guider, we'll definitely take a harder look on the policy side of it to make sure that we're definitely covered when it comes to those types of pads and any technology that's going on here in the county. So I yield back. That's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Certainly, I want to chime in on number 13, if I could ask Director Valentin to come forward. This intergovernmental agreement with the City of Villa Rica for the early warning signal has been a rigorous task for us, and this is a monumental accomplishment. So if you could just expound a little bit about this. I know the citizens of Villa Rica are ecstatic right now, and I'm happy as well, because this has been one of the first things we had to, both of us had to tackle, particularly as I entered office in 2017. So can you just talk about how we accomplished this?
Absolutely. Good morning, Commissioners. There was a lot of discussions back and forth between county staff and the railroad initially. And actually, we thought we made headway early on. Got some positive feedback from the railroad, and it turned out that one office of the railroad was not in agreement with the other office of the railroad, and they had some discussions. So it took some doing between the county administrator, DOT staff, and there were others, perhaps some legislators that may have become involved. And eventually we were able to sort of get everybody on the same page and come up with this strategy for moving forward. The railroad also initially was insisting that some of the work that was going to be necessary that only they would do, either with their own forces or with a contractor that they approved, because of the sensitivity of the connection to the mast arm, that security gate that comes down when the train is going to go by. So it took a lot of discussions, a lot of back and forth, but eventually we arrived at an agreement where the city is going to be contracting or agreeing to reimburse the county to move the project forward. We're going to bid the project, get a contractor that can do a portion of it. The city is also going to enter into an agreement with the railroad directly for them to do their work. And then the two projects, the two components will meet somewhere in a junction box along the road. And that connection will be made, and the system will become functional. Now, from then on, it would be the responsibility of the City of Villa Rica for maintenance. However, they do not have the capability in-house to do the maintenance work, routine maintenance or assessment work that is necessary. So they're going to be relying on the county staff, traffic operations, to perform that service for them. However, they are, based on the agreement, going to be reimbursing the county for any work that that county staff has to do in the future in connection with this installation. So a lot of effort by a lot of people, but a lot of county staff that had to do the heavy lifting to get it to the goal line.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much. You answered my question. Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes for this consent agenda. All votes have been cast. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote. So thank you, all Board of Commissioners, for passing this consent agenda. Next, I would like each commissioner, if they could, just to introduce their interns. We have our summer interns here for the Board of Commissioners, and I used to have a great memory, but I want to make sure I can remember my intern's name, and I'll start with Commissioner Guider and ask if she could introduce her intern. And we can have them. Commissioner Mulcair has asked could you all come up. So if you all could come up, that'd be great.
Up on the stage.
Yeah, you want them on stage? Okay. Yes, and we will ask our communications director to take a photograph with us with them as well, once they introduce themselves.
Do we introduce them or they introduce them?
No, we want you to introduce, if you could. I want your commissioners to introduce you, and then you all, if you want to say something, I promise you I wouldn't put you on the spot today.
You ready?
Yeah, you ready? Commissioner Guider? Commissioner Guider?
Okay. My intern is Hunter Bradley. He lives in District 4. He and his family live in District 4. He attended Alexander High School, and he's graduating, and he's going on a cruise next week, I think. Where are you going? Bahamas, okay. So congratulations to him, and he's very eager and very knowledgeable of a lot of things that's going on, so I welcome him.
Okay. Commissioner Robinson?
Yes, ma'am. My intern is Ms. Anaya Gibson. She is a second-year intern, which our program allows. She did such a fantastic job last year. I decided to bring her back for a final term. She is a junior, going into her junior year at the University of Georgia as a journalism major. Our intent is to craft an agenda this summer that leverages her over in our media department and communication, so she can sort of begin to build and apply some of the things, the tenets of journalism, and which she's going to be proficiently at. And so we welcome you back, Anaya, and I yield.
Okay. My intern is Leland Alexander, and Leland graduated from New Manchester, and he was very involved in the school system. He is now a sophomore. He's in college, and he's entering his sophomore year, and he's a business major, management major, and he is attending Georgia, and I want to make sure I have your college right, Leland. Yeah, Georgia Gwinnett College. He's very knowledgeable, he's energetic, he's engaged, and he's excited to hit the ground running with me. Thank you so much, Leland. Commissioner Mulcair.
Yes, my friend here, my intern is Serenity Hill. She graduated from Alexander High School recently, and she's going to be attending Kennesaw State, majoring in journalism, and I can tell you she's already pretty accomplished at that. Good speaker, so we're looking forward to working together.
And my intern is Jasmine Moore. Now, she's got such an accolade of accomplishments, so I'm going to allow her to just kind of speak on her own behalf, so I'll allow you to do that much.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine. I graduated from Kennesaw about 3 weeks ago with a degree in criminal justice, and I went to Douglas County. And yeah, that's all.
And she's already kicking off an excellent start. So I must say thank you, and for those interns that are a part of this, we really appreciate you guys being a part of the Board of Commission and Madam Chair. So again, on our behalf and the Board of Commissioners' behalf, thank you guys, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to, that's what I was, if I can get everyone just to shift to the left, please. Shift to the left.
I don't want to get blamed if you broke the camera. Because that was right on you.
Again, thank you to our interns and welcome, and we are so excited to have you for the next 8 weeks. Next, we have announcements, and I will ask our Director of Communications, Mr. Rick Martin, to provide the announcements for us today.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board of Commissioners. For the announcements today, Douglas County Department of External Affairs is now accepting applications for the Douglas County Citizens Academy. Through June 27th of this year, the Douglas County Citizens Academy is a 10-week interactive program offered once a year that encourages civic engagement and enhances dialogue between county officials and citizens. The Citizens Academy meets once a week on Tuesdays from July 10th through September 11th. For more information, please contact the Department of External Affairs at 770-920-7593. On Saturday, June 23rd, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, the Great Douglas County Shredding Event returns for Douglas County residents who will have the opportunity to bring their personal documents, tax records, and financial reports to the Douglas County Courthouse for shredding, done by A1 Shredding and Recycling Company. The event is sponsored by the Douglas County Communications and Relations Department and the External Affairs Department as well. The event is free and open to the public. Last but not least, I like to describe as this just in regards to the comprehensive land use plan, the first of 2 public involvement meetings for the update to the Douglas County and City of Douglasville comprehensive land use plan will be held on Tuesday, June 12th at 6 p.m. at the Douglasville Conference Center, located at 6700 Church Street. That's the first of 2 public involvement meetings. The second public meeting will be held at the same location on Tuesday, July 19th at 6 o'clock. And we're going to have this information on the website and disseminated via our social media platforms as well.
Thank you so much, Director Martin. Board of Commissioners, do any one of you all have an announcement? I believe you, Vice Chairman, you have an announcement.
Just very quickly, as is becoming a practice of doing a better job of communicating with the public, the 2 committees in which I chair, I want to give a quick acknowledgement that we have 2 committee meetings that are coming up that will be open to the public. One will be on Monday the 18th, which is our Finance Committee at 2 p.m. And then the next day, which is the 19th, which is a Tuesday, will be our Transportation Committee meeting at 2 p.m. as well. Just as a note, and this is just for the record, there's a couple things we're going to be talking about. As some of you may know, there has been public engagement as it relates to educating the public on the current existing services we offer for our multimodal transportation. This past weekend, there was presence at the Hydrangea Festival, as well as Commissioner Mitchell's District 1 Coffee and Conversation, as far as what we currently do today. We will be reviewing at our Transportation Committee a formal communication plan, our entire committee, in which ultimately will be submitted to the full Board of Commissioners for advisement, as they normally would do. Related to that, we just was informed, and this is important, that it's our understanding that the ARC will be making their final decision regarding our bus system. I'm just going to say bus system for the conversation grant on Thursday, the 14th of June. This is important. One of the things is that after that, there has to actually be a vote of the Board of Commissioners. After convening with my colleague, Vice Chairman Michael Mulcair, regarding transportation, we believe that in order to bring that before the Board of Commissioners as a formal consideration, we will not do that following meeting, the one I'm just talking about, because it's too fast. We believe that it is important for us to properly let people know that, hey, this is going to come formally before the Board of Commissioners, and so we don't anticipate that coming before us until July. We just want to set expectations on what this is. There's no sleight of hands, there's no shotgunning, something, a major decision. So I'm taking the time, and Madam Chair, I thank you for giving me the floor to properly set expectations, because this is one in which we want the public to be fully engaged on. And of course, regarding the Finance Committee, we'll be covering costs associated with all of this at our upcoming Finance Committee as well. So Madam Chair, again, we just wanted to make sure that the public is aware of what we're doing. I yield, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Guider, I believe you.
Yes, this is the first I've heard about this, so I'm just going to make one comment, and I've seen this done in the past. We need to steer away from the week of the 4th of July because everybody's on vacation that week. And so I would suggest if you're going to have it in July, have it in the second meeting of July. Huh?
Evening.
The evening meeting, yes, and that would allow for more people to participate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you as well. Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just one quick collaborative effort of the City of Douglasville and myself, District 1 Commissioner, that on June 11th, Monday, June 11th, we will be doing a Highway 92 bypass update and the transportation branding update. Don't know the time. Gary, do you remember that time of that meeting? Was it 6 o'clock? Yeah, I think it's 6 o'clock, and just check your TV listings for the proper timing. I mean, but I don't know the exact time, but I think it's at 6 o'clock though. But I know it's on Monday, June 11th, where we'll be speaking on behalf of the Highway 92 bypass and kind of where we are with that particular project, what it looks like, and kind of what the direction that the city actually is taking on that. And on top of this, we'll also have the young lady who will come in reference to the transportation branding, who will also have some handouts and will take a few minutes to kind of update us, as she will be doing in the various other districts, as to what services that we already provide and how we will be educating the public on those particular services that we provide. That includes Greta, Van Pool, and a few other things that we provide. So outside of that, that'll be Monday, June 11th. Please come and join us at Stewart Middle School, if I'm not mistaken, at 6 o'clock. And if you need to find out more, just kind of give us a call here or check your websites, and we'll kind of get you all the details. And that's all I've got. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, anything else from the Board of Commissioners? With that being said, we will take a recess until 6 p.m. this evening. So we will reconvene for our joint BOC and Planning and Zoning meeting. Again, thank you for participating in local government. And this meeting will now break for recess until the Planning and Zoning meeting tonight. Thank you.
Yes,